Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Samuel, founder of a revolutionary medical sales training and mentorship program called the Medical Sales Career Builder, and I'm also host of the Medical Sales Podcast. In this podcast, I interview top medical sales reps and leading medical sales executives across the entire world. It doesn't matter what medical sales industry, from medical device to pharmaceutical to genetic testing and diagnostic lab, you name it, you will learn how to either break into the industry, be a top 10% performer within your role, or climb the corporate ladder. Welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. And remember, I am a medical sales expert sharing my own opinion about this amazing industry and how it can change your life. Alex, how are we doing today?
Great. It's Friday. It's like 64 degrees in Georgia, and I love it. It feels like fall, but it's spring still. So it's, you know how it is.
Living the good life, man. Okay. So please tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah. So my name is Alex Kinsel. I do medical device sales. I specialize in non-invasive pain management, primarily for the VA. So here in Georgia and Atlanta, we have a very, very populated system. And so within the VA itself, I primarily work with anesthesia pain management, neurology, physical medicine, rehabilitation, and physical therapy, some orthopedics. But something that is also being done in Atlanta that I've been able to work on is something called community care. So, for example, we have 1 million veterans within the urban Atlanta community that we have a shortage of providers per veteran, essentially. So, sure. But we have all these clinics that do workers' comp, PIP, private insurance. They all get contracted through the VA. So if one of my providers and my customers and pain management can't see a veteran, they will refer out to Southern Spine and Pain, whatever it is. And so that's also something that I do within the position I'm in now.
Got it. So let's talk about it. Let's lay the lay of the land for all our listeners. Non-invasive pain management. Describe for us exactly what that is, and give us the context of who are you calling on? Is it more hospital, more clinic? Is it what type of devices, what type of products? Like, give us a little bit of the lay of the land of non-invasive pain management.
Yeah, so let's start with integrated delivery network, which is what the VA is. And so in that network, there are departments that are pain management, neurology, all of the above that we just listed. And so I have the device sitting next to me. I can show it on screen. It's really simple.
Yeah, show us. Let's have a look.
This is the carrying case. This is the briefcase for me. Okay, so it's the RS4i sequential stimulator with intersperse, and this is what it looks like if you were to hold it. If you ever do anything with controls, these are channels. So there's electrodes, and I'm going to go ahead and get the product out. So this is like a stimulator. It's the box, all the electricity, all the waveforms, what's being sent through the tissue resides in here.
Okay. Describe it for us for those that are not watching as well.
Okay. So for those who are not watching, so say you wake up tomorrow, Sam, and you've done something to your back and you're just like, oh man, I can't even get out of bed today. Like, what am I going to do? Like, watch sports, whatever. It's Sunday. Can't do much. With this device, there's a cable attachment here that will run the cords. So this is the brochure that we use for patients. So we're talking about your lower back.
Okay.
We'll just stick to, let's say middle back. Yeah, here we go. Lower back.
Okay.
The lower back. So these electrodes, if you've seen a TINS unit before, if you've seen them on Amazon, I mean, Shaq had his own line of TINS units in the late 2000s. Wow. It's very similar. However, what I mentioned here, what resides in here, the waveform and the technology we have a patent on is vastly different. And then we have 4 channels, so we can treat an entire surface area. So like for a low back, typically a lot of TINS units are 2 channels that you have to cross the pads actually, so that the waveforms can connect and meet at the middle to target nerves and muscles that reside there.
Got it. So I'm laying out, I'm in pain. I turn on the TV and tell me how this device comes in and changes my life. What's happening?
So next I want to show you the garment, and that's why it's so important here. So you're on your back, right? But it's hard to get the stuff on a lot of times when you have just your hand or a loved one or whatever. So we have these fancy little garments here. Open it. Not the most organized. I apologize. And there's so many Velcros. So,
and this goes around your back, or I mean, around
your waist? It's like a jacket.
Okay.
So this is a jacket, right? So a vest, a Patagonia vest, or whatever, think that. But
Sure.
You're laying down, or you're in bed, and you take this plug in here that I mentioned. So this is all strapped and wired through it. So you can take this plug and then go bam, put it in. It's a rechargeable battery too. So that's a nice thing because, it's just like an iPhone dock.
Sure.
Just take the battery out, pop it in.
Sure.
And then you would turn it on. Right now, this is dead. It's not been in use for a while. But it's a 35-minute treatment. Okay.
And what does it do?
You have the vest on. You're ready to watch football and drink coffee or whatever you're going to do. There's a 35-minute treatment. It's breaking up into 3 different parts. The first part is segment 1. It is called pain, but the pain management side of it, pain relief. So you amplify, you start hitting the channel 1, bringing it up. And I always tell veterans and patients, take it to a point where the stimulation is almost too much on your lower back. Okay. You go 2 steps below that, and that's kind of a sweet spot. Okay. And you do that from left to right, channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, to your left lumbar, to your right lumbar. And then that treatment ends, and then you go to the next treatment, which is muscle stim, because muscle and nerve, those are very related to treating the pain. So same thing. Now this next treatment, the sequential 5 minutes is, the first pain management, the pain relief is very therapeutic. It feels good. It's like, veterans will be like, oh man, feels really good. The next one, now be careful here, because it is a different waveform, and it's more of like an electrical pinch. So it's a muscle stim, and that's very common. Sure. And they're in their heads, they're like, man, that felt good the first time. Let's crank it up here. I'm like, go slow. And as they're bringing it up, you'll feel it come on, and like, oh man, that's more of a pitch, but it's not uncomfortable, right? Because you contract the muscle, what you're doing, it hurts, especially if there's something underneath that's causing the pain. And you do the same thing, left to right. And the difference here is that when you have a comfortable setting, you'll feel it comes on for 5 seconds and then it goes away for 5 seconds. So what are we doing there? We're activating both type 1 and type 2 muscles. So slow twitch fastest. If you're talking to any athletes out there, any track, any cross-country runners, they know what I'm talking about. 2 types of muscles. Okay. So again, that treatment ends. Now here's kind of the bread and butter of the RS Medical, the RS4i Plus as a whole. We have it's called the sequential stimulator with intersperse. And so what intersperse does is, once you're done and you get to segment 3, you just hit any of the arrows, and it takes your 2 settings, those 2 intensity levels from segment 1 and segment 2, just transfers it directly to the third treatment, which is 25 minutes. So now you're pretty much done. So now you can watch football. What happens there is you'll get the 5-second muscle contraction, like, oh man, okay. And then it'll go away. And then we bathe it in 10 seconds of that pain relief. So I'm going to give you an analogy here, some analogy guy. So, lift weights, take care of yourself, working out in the gym. Say you're doing a bicep curl, right? And I like hypertrophy, but some guys are more, slow and slow with weightlifting. So you do a 5-second bicep curl, right? So you're really activating all those muscles, and they're at the top. And then as you relax, my analogy here is in that 10 seconds, it'd be as if you had a massage therapist coming in there, or a cupping, or whatever you're doing to, okay, you can do another rep, because we're managing the nerves. Right. So that pain is getting kind of numbed. So that is layman's term, as layman's as I can make it for what my product does and what the patients.
Okay. So I got so many questions. All right. So going back to me on the couch and watch the game, I put this device on, I do my 35 minutes. When it ends, what's the difference? Like, what can I now do that I couldn't do before this device was in my life?
So that is a great question. So we're going to get into anatomy and physiology of this all, which is,
we're educating today, Alex.
Yes, we're doing patient education, but you don't have a device with you. So So what happens there is I want to get into our indications. We haven't talked about that. So we have 8, right? So we have chronic pain and acute pain. We have reduction of muscle spasms. We have muscle re-education. We have prevention of disuse atrophy. We have range of motion. And for the life of me, I'm starting to blank. So also I'm blanking on the other 2 right now, but really the first 4 are the most important, because not only are we providing pain on it, but we're also breaking up muscle spasms that exist within muscles that don't get fired. So when you're in pain, right, what's not happening? You're not rehabbing it. Right. So obviously that's where things get from bad to worse with pain, is pain that's not being.
You're not doing anything with it, so it's just muscles atrophying, nothing's happening. Yep.
Yeah. So that's and then so that 35 minutes. So you're at halftime in the game, right? And you're maybe first quarter, halfway in, and you're like, all right, beep, beep, beep. Device turns off. You're like, okay. I always tell patients when you're done, stretch, because what was released is an endogenous opiate system. It plays on the gate theory, logic of pain. It's been around for a long time. But at the end of the treatment, you get an enkephalin response and an endorphin response, and those are peptides.
You're literally so you're feeling good, I guess.
Yes. So it's like I always say when you're done, and I've started to work with a few athletes here and there, and I do jujitsu, and I'm like, you guys are all going to use this because your backs are messed up. Your range of motion is terrible. Just do this before, after, all the above. So yeah, you're acting on our brains, our own fight or flight. What we do when there's so much pain that you can't move, the device basically causes a always holistic, voluntary response from the brain to be like, okay, we're starting to move. We're gonna give you all the feel good chemicals, so whatever you're doing, so you can run. Honestly, like this goes back to like if a cheetah's chasing you, right?
Yeah.
And you sprain your ankle, guess what? You're not going to feel that ankle.
Right.
Is wild. It's down the road. That cheetah.
Right.
And then next day you're like, oh man. But like, hey, that cheetah, a lion took it out or something, like, so that's the short answer. I wanted to bring in the lions and cheetahs because of football too.
I hope you're enjoying today's episode. And I want to let you know our programs cover the entire career of a medical sales professional. From getting into the medical sales industry, to training on how to be a top performer in the medical sales industry, to masterfully navigating your career to executive level leadership. These programs are personalized and customized for your specific career and background, and trained by over 50 experts, including surgeons. Our results speak for ourselves, and we're landing positions for our candidates in less than 120 days in top medical technology companies like Stryker, Medtronic, Merck, Abbott, you name it. Would you run an Ironman race without training and a strategy? You wouldn't. So why are you trying to do the same with a medical sales position? You need training, you need a strategy, and you need to visit evolveyoursuccess.com, fill out the application, schedule some time with one of our account executives, and let's get you into the position that you've always dreamed of. What is the expectation here? If I have this chronic back pain and this device allows me, I'm assuming this device allows me to get up and not feel the pain to where I was. And to your point, it allows me to actually rehab it. Yeah. Is the expectation that I'm going to have this device for a couple months, rehab it during those months, and at the end of it all, my chronic back pain is now curtailed, or how does it work?
So the VA actually, depending on the VA, because VAs are different, the VA actually buys it for the patients that have been sent to the home. And then what I love about this company, I think every DME company should do this, is we do 30-day follow-ups and 60-day follow-ups for new providers who have basically pilots. And like, hey, we've talked about this, and I'm going to give you a few patients, and we're going to see. So what we measure in those pilots. So say we're doing an actual patient education, and this is just an analogy. While they're doing a treatment, I'm asking them, what was your pain level today when you came in? Okay, it's an 8, pretty rough, makes it hard to do activities. The next question is, how does that 8 in pain interfere with your ability to do your daily activities? Okay, and then the next question is, how do muscle spasms? How does that tightness that if I can only move so much. Patients in really bad pain, like this Coke bottle right here that's empty, they will have to get in a certain position so that the nerves are not being pinched so that they can grab a Coke bottle.
Wow.
So that's why I asked about the muscle spasms and how that interferes with the ability to do activities. Then we do sleep, because sleep is so important.
Right.
You're not sleeping, and especially with veterans who have other things going on with stuff. Sleep, if you can get veterans sleeping, you're doing amazing, right? And then I was, if they have a loved one with them, I asked about like, well, you may be able to answer this better than the patient. What's your mood typically? Because they'll be like, the veterans, they're like, oh, I'm a nice guy, and then their loved one's like,
not really.
So that's why they're a caretaker,
Right.
And then stress too, because what amplifies stress or what amplifies pain is cortisol. And so we're stressed out, So those are the kind of the pillars. And then so 30 days later, we have our customer support specialists call them or follow up with them, and or me. Sometimes it depends on what I'm doing, and ask them how it's worked. And that's the best part of my job is the 30 days after. And I had one that was so like, you're in the right space at the right time because of this. In January, Sam, I had a patient go from a 10 to a 1.
Wow.
A 9 interference activity to a 1. All of it. Medical remission. And I went to the chief, and it was in one of those moments because so that sports, right? So I played that sports. That is like, I've been doing this. I've been playing sports, and we're doing well. And I just won a trophy running across country, and I just won the state championship. And I'm gonna go show all my friends and put my letter pin on my jacket and do all those things. And so I took it around and I sent it to everybody who's contributed and been like, look at what we did for this veteran, this female veteran. And I called her up, and I said, how's it been working? And I was like, do you want to talk? Do you want to do like they do buy-offs? So like we do a marketing thing for them. And so like what's it changed for you? And so I think they're working on that right now. So that is, sorry, I ramble so much.
No, look,
great questions there.
it's fascinating stuff that you get the opportunity to sell. So, we love to hear it. My question, I guess, is, okay, so the 30 days, I love what you said too. Like, this is when you're in the right field because of the impact you're actually making on a patient's life. So these 30 days come around, they say my pain that was a 10 is now a 1. So now what? Do they keep that device indefinitely?
Yeah.
Do they no longer need it? How does it work?
Yeah, I love that you asked that question because life happens. That's the short answer, right? Is like we go to a 10 to a 1, but here's the thing: is I want to share some of why I got into medical device sales. Is I had hip replacement surgery at 21 years old during COVID.
Jeez.
And I'll go into all the nitty gritty of how it happened, but I'll tell you, I didn't do much rehab for it. I was 20 and I was an athlete. I was like, I'll get this back. But my doctor told me, he's like, you're going to go from 100. I was in pretty good shape. You're going to go 100% muscle mass to 0. And that's fine for older patients. But for you, it's going to be an imbalance. And then my left leg's about half inch shorter than my right leg.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question though, is you keep it as a fail safe. So if your life is doing well and you get back to, the biggest thing is getting veterans back to family, being with their family, being with their loved ones, being able to see their grandkids, being able to be basically re-enter their family. Okay.
Right.
That's huge. Right. And then work, and then purpose, and they defended our country and years ago, but then because of things that happen, integrating you back into society is a real struggle for veterans. So yeah, and if you're working and something pops up, or there's a surgery or something, and there's no contraindications in the way, then take it out of the closet and use it. Or then I had patients that really get into it, and they I do it now before I go rock climbing or something like that. Yes, absolutely, go rock climbing. Keep those muscles firing.
So it's preventative.
It's preventative. It can be preventative. For me, it's preventative right now because I'm 27 years old and healthy. But it is, I think it's both.
Yeah.
Preventative and
treatment
and management. Yeah.
So when I have this device and the technology is changing, it's doing a thing. But 5 years have passed, and I assume it's probably a much, much better, deeper, powerful device. Am I even thinking that way? Like, I need the update, or am I just happy with what I have?
Exactly. So say, you're you've got the device for 2 years and, there's been an update happen, but then you sprain your ankle and something, it may be working, maybe not working. And you decide that like, or, it's still like, it's still electricity. So like if you put it in a cold environment, like the battery can do what a car does and get cold and then not start
Sure.
again. So
Sure.
like we have these warranties in place that we would just get with your provider. They can write with the VA. They have a portal that they can send a message to their provider. They can send a message. Then they can send that message to me. Prosthetics is basically the purchasing department for the VA, and then I have relationships with those agents as well. So then I would just say, hey, this is the device. They're already in the system. This is what they need, and they're already in there because we supply a year's supply of electrodes. But those electrodes run out too. So those electrodes, the electrodes themselves last about a month. Or the garments, the garments can something can happen to the garment, and also the garments get updates. We also have, so I just have the low back and full back. We also have a shoulder garment.
Okay.
So that gets interesting for different reasons. It's a little tricky. It's like basically half a sports bra.
Yeah.
It's a little tough, but like
Sure.
a knee wrap. I'm hoping we get like a knee wrap soon because then
Sure.
your knees and you can just put on like basically 2 pieces of like if you're, especially I'm talking about exercise science people out there, you wrap a knee, same thing, just have electrodes in it.
Got it. Okay. So let's talk about the sell of this product now. Because what I'm hearing, I'm assuming there needs to be some real patient buy-in, right? This is not just you going to the clinician, selling them, even if the clinician's like, this is amazing, I'm gonna use it for all my patients. But the patient's like, I don't know. So how does that play with your role? Talk to us about when you wake up and you go out and do your job. Where are you going? Are you talking to patients? Are you talking to only doctors? Are you talking to staff? Or who are you talking with? And how does it all work in your cell?
So that is where I want to, that's your type of medical salesperson. My archetype, or whatever you want to call it.
Archetype. I like that. I'm stealing that. Archetype.
Yeah. Don't steal it.
What's your medical device archetype?
So I would say my archetype is hunter, right?
Okay.
But you can hunt all you want in the medical device world, and you can be very successful with that. But what I remember as a hunter is that I have somebody with me that's wounded. And so I'm keeping that in mind. So everything that I do out there, whether it's talking to chief of departments at the VA level that can make bureaucracy changes,
right?
Or it is a janitor or a medical assistant or a nurse or a receptionist, if they can provide me some sort of helpful information so that this patient that I'm working with can get the device that I know will work for them, because I don't represent something that doesn't work or there's something that's better, then that is kind of my methodology for my schedule. And so schedules change. So Monday through Thursday, typically it's out the door by 8, maybe I have a one-on-one at 9. But then it's like, okay, I have this clinic here, I have a lunch here, I have a patient that needs an instruction or a trial here. And it's lucky because I'm in Atlanta. So yeah, the traffic's terrible, but it's not like I'm driving across the state down to like Sewanee or down to Florida or like down, or I have one other rep that covers Eastern Georgia into South Carolina. But there's enough within Atlanta, and there always will be with veterans, that I stay busy. And then so typically my day I would end at 3 p.m. And this is something that I'm working on myself because I'm still a growing person in is organization and scheduling. Because a hunter does not like to sit down and write down exactly what he did that day. He just eat lunch and then take a nap and then go to the gym or go play basketball or whatever, just kind of relax. So just admin and this like Salesforce aspect of it, the customer relationship management, is something that I'm working on it.
Sure. So, but it sounds like there's a lot of flexibility with your role, for the mere fact that you got to hunt for the business, and it's still a W-2 role. So, but I still want to get a better picture for patients versus clinicians versus, like you said, decision makers in the bureaucracy, right? So how does it work? How are you getting in front of patients? What does that look like?
So I was very lucky when I was hired that the regional manager at the time had laid the groundwork and had two providers within pain management that was a nurse practitioner and a doctor of physical therapy. and he had kind of given me the access to the VA.
Sure.
And the biggest thing is what you're asking is the access, because a lot of VAs, if you walk in and you don't have an appointment, get out. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta go.
Right.
So
I'm
that
familiar.
is- So that I was lucky that we call it, having a seated territory, right? So,
Yeah.
come in and you have, it's just, you have to get where you have a territory, and you can take those relationships that you have, and you can leverage them and nurture them. I think leveraging and nurturing are different. But if you nurture your provider's patients, and that's how you get to the patients first, then, you give them the follow-up assessments and all the things that you're doing, and you just give them like, and you see them and you get to know them, and they have their own pains, they have their own stuff. And then you say, hey, I want to talk to so-and-so in neurology, because we also do diabetic neuropathies. We can help with that. Who would I talk to there? Well, I don't know, but I know this person over there that's an MA, and maybe she can help you or he can help you. And then they can't do that, but they can put you in touch with the office manager, typically an office manager.
Okay.
Just scheduling with all types of things. And then you have an in-service or a lunch within the VA. And that is a very slow and arduous process, because they are busy.
It's Fort Knox over there. I'm familiar. So, okay, but with the MA and the office manager, you're trying to get access to the clinician or another
I'm
platform?
trying to get a meeting scheduled. I'm trying to get whether it is 4 people on a Teams, or sitting down in a conference room with a projector, and typically it's a really short presentation. It's about 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
So that's also great, because they don't have to can take their entire day. They can just come in and then you meet with them.
And it's typically a pain management physician?
It can be so for that, to answer that question, so a pain management physician, if I'm trying to break into, let's say, neurology, like my example, say, hey, do you ever see these? We also have indications or need for these types of patients. Who can I talk to? And then that's where the MA and the nurse or LPN, whoever, can then direct me to the next step, the next contact point.
Got it. And do you always end up talking to a decision maker in the hierarchy of an IDN, or does it usually hover in the realm of clinicians?
No, I have had so back to the trophy. That was the biggest moment in my career, because this chief of pain, he's a young guy, and the VA is broken up to VISNs, which is VA Integrated Service Networks. And so, like, he was the chief of pain for not only Atlanta, because he was practiced in Atlanta, but the entire, like, just not even that system, but like South Carolina. I don't know. They just changed it.
Yeah.
Different parts. And I was like, guys, like, if you need a referral, email him. So that was like bureaucracy. But no, a typical meeting will be the office manager would be basically the proxy for me, and then we're meeting on when they're having lunch, or it can be just I catch them, in between patients, and then here's my card and call me later. So the meetings and the pie in the sky of like, okay, I'm here and I just have to do all these things and wait. That is something that I realized is like, there's no real parameters on what a meeting can look like when it comes to medical sales. It can be just a bump in and how are you doing? What do you do here? Hey, that's, just a conversation.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And remember, I have a customized and personalized program that gets you into the medical technology industry as a sales professional, or any type of role for that matter. Become a top performer in your position and masterfully navigate your career to executive level leadership. Check out these programs and learn more at evolvesuccess.com by visiting our site, filling out an application, schedule some time with one of our account executives, and allowing us to get you where you need to be. Stay tuned for more awesome content with amazing interviews on the Medical Sales Podcast.